Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live stream. My name is Wes, and I will be your host. Today, we have with us Eugene, who is known as Skeeva. He is an art director and will be discussing his latest work for an Adidas ad campaign with Builders Club. He will showcase how he recreated existing outfits with Substance Painter and Substance Source. Hey, Eugene, happy to have you here today,
Hey,
man. Yeah, thanks for
hey,
joining us today.
hey, what's up, Wes? Thanks for
Yeah.
having me, man.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. So you got a lot of really cool stuff to show. So I think we'll just jump right into it, man. So go ahead and start your screen share, and yeah, just take it away when you're ready, and also tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Awesome. Thanks, Wes. It's good to be here. Finally, I'm glad to share with you guys everything I've been cooking in my cave. My name is Eugene. I also known as Skeeva. I'm originally from Kiev, Ukraine. My journey was so long. I started as a lawyer. I graduated as a lawyer. Then I was making short films. Then I was an actor, a comedian, and then I worked as a support manager. And then I finally realized that I want to do something bigger and more interesting. So I jumped into 3D directly without having any design education or graduation, like just straight ahead into 3D. So
Wow. Hey, wait, Eugene, man, wait a minute. Are you sure, man? Because you might want to try your hand at a few other jobs before you settle with this.
yeah, man. I mean, I've tried, but I failed. You know, I was a bad lawyer. I was a bad support guy. But I think I was a pretty fine actor. You know, in some cases. But yeah, I mean, my journey was so interesting. For me, for sure, life is interesting for me. So yeah. So for the past 5 years, I guess like solid 5 years I've been doing design 3D illustrations as a freelancer, and you can find some of my work on the links I've provided for you guys. So feel free to check it out. Please let me know what do you think about it. So yeah, this is where I started. I mean, um, so I call this slide like art evolution because like I started doing these daily things you might know that lots of people have been doing and still they do, I guess. So they're doing a single artwork every day. So I joined this train and in May 2016, and I've I did it for solid year, and then I stopped because it was like so challenging for me. I had a son at that time, you know, so I was a young father. I had to manage my time more carefully, and but I realized that it hasn't been like it didn't give me any satisfaction anymore. You know, I've learned some stuff during this year, and then I jump into more like precise stuff. I've started doing more how do you say it, more detailed work. So yeah, as you might see, this is my like a timeline where I started and where I ended in August 2019. With some cyberpunk logos, emblem logos. So I tried to like develop my own style during all these years, and I had a huge pleasure working with like huge brands like SpaceX. I did this. Actually, it was 2 illustrations for their headquarters in their space gallery. So yeah, it was back in 2017. So after that I had a pleasure like working with PNL, like most of you guys from France know who they are huge. So yeah, I've been in France, in Paris. We've been working super closely with the band, with the brothers, with the records. It was honestly, it was 70 4 iterations of artwork. It was so challenging and exhausting, to do this, but eventually we did it. We did a great job. I hope everyone loved it. After that, I've been again working on some smaller clients, minor one, but then during the pandemic, I had a huge pleasure working with Builders Club on Adidas latest Adidas original ZX campaign, which was huge, and I was responsible for creating some outfits. But we'll get to this later on. So here are some of my latest work from the past year. As you can see, I love bright colors, lots of details and textures, and again, surrealism, futurism, dark Gothic style mixed with the futuristic, I don't know, how do you call it, stuff. So I'm trying to experiment, trying to express myself as much as I can in this artworks. And after a long time of doing illustrations, I was struggling a lot because I wasn't evolving enough as an artist. So I always wanted to jump into the animation and motion graphics at some point, but I was so struggling to leave my comfort zone. But then during the pandemic, I realized that I have to do it. I have to do this like leap of faith. And I've started my personal R&D project called Oversize. You can check it out on my Behance as well. So this is like some sort of a exploration, personal exploration series of explorations in the fashion direction, if you can say so. So I've tried to create some outfits and then merge them with my textures and surrealistic looks, and yeah, it came up pretty poetic, I think, and this is where it starts for me in terms of fashion and clothing digitally. After that, I was after this project, I've been invited to work with Builders Club guys on this super dope Adidas project. So here are some of the simulations I've created based on the already existing outfits. So they've sent us, Adidas sent us the photos of the talents with those garments, wearing those garments, and we had to recreate them identically. It was like a bit challenging for me again, but I haven't been sleeping. I've been learning a lot during the production phase, which is exhausting, but again, it was worth it. So yeah, here are some GIFs, animations, some style frames, some viewport from the marvelous designer. So yeah, I guess it would be much efficient if I share my actual. I'll do a live demo with you guys to share some very important tips and tricks. What should we pay attention to during this workflow? Because there are so many hidden stuff that I didn't know before. I would gladly show it to you guys so you can be more efficient and express your thoughts much more quicker. So yeah, we'll start with a marvelous designer key steps. Those are just some text version what we'll be doing right now. Those are for those people who would want to jump back on the stream and see some of the steps. Maybe it would be much easier for them to, oh yeah, step 4, make sure to delete all these stitches, right? So those are just the text version, what we'll be doing tonight. So yeah, first of all, we'll create, actually we won't be doing any outfit creation because it is very time consuming stuff and it's not the today's topic, but you'll definitely find a lot of tutorials how to efficiently create outfits in Marvelous Designer. We'll be working on already pre-made stuff that I did earlier. So we'll do a simulation, plus we'll record the animation of the outfit. We'll prepare the UVs, super important stuff. We'll make sure to delete all the stitches because we don't really use them in Marvelous Designer. Well, actually, they are very, very great at it, but for our workflow, it won't work because it will create so many unnecessary geometry that could like ruin our mesh at the end. Then we'll export 3 different files for 3 different purposes. First one is OBJ. We'll call them tags, which will help us to link all the textures to Alembic file that we will export as well. The Alembic file is the baked animation file. It's pretty huge, but it contains all the necessary information of the animation of the outfit. And then we'll export the T-post OBJ with a separate single fabric in Marvelous Designer for all the garments. This is very important because we will be working with the newest UDIM system in Substance Painter, and this method would help us to achieve what we need more efficiently. So yeah, let's let's jump into it. Here it is. I'll just briefly explain what's happening. This is the Marvelous Designer software, which is the main purpose of which is to create garments based on the 2D patterns. This software is used a lot in fashion and movie industry, as well as in advertising. And here you can see 4 different types of clothes that we've been recreating in this software. The scene is pretty heavy because it has a lot of information, a lot of polygons, a lot of stuff to contain. So we actually won't be working on it for the purpose of this stream. But again, if you would like to learn more about this stuff, feel free to check out the Behance project. It has a lot of information, especially for Marvelous Designer. So feel free to check it out. So yeah, it has, like, as well as I mentioned, it has 4 different types of clothes. It has a shirt, it has a t-shirt, it has a jacket with a lot of like crazy stuff with this sticky thing that we had to reproduce. We were like struggling a lot how to make this stuff, but then eventually we managed to achieve some hidden sewings, you might say. So yeah, a lot of pockets, a lot of welds, like gaps between the sews. It was very important for the client to achieve all this stuff. Pants, belt, like everything you would wish for a modern fashion boy. So yeah, again, a lot of different outfits are in the Behance project. Check it out. But for now, we'll just skip this one and we'll jump on the football uniform. I hope there are some soccer, aka football fans out there that would be great to look at. if it makes sense. So yeah, there's another project that I've been working on. It's still in release. It will be released in a few days, but it's in the football theme. So yeah, I've created this basic, pretty much football, soccer uniform, which is pretty straightforward. Some basic stuff. I won't be recreating it tonight. You can like do it by yourself. And but the great part of it, of the Marvelous Designer, it has this modular system that helps you super quickly create the garments based on the presets. So yeah, really won't be jumping on it today, but please feel free to check it out. Super handsome stuff. So yeah, the main thing is to consider in Marvelous Designer that obviously if you're working with the animation, you would need the avatar, animated avatar. Again, there are so many different ways how to achieve the animations. First of all, it's Adobe's Mixamo, Adobe's views that are working really great in combo. You can easily select a lot of animations and bake them into Alembic file, and then import it to a Marvelous Designer. So basically what we have here is an animated avatar, is just walking guy. So I've already, again, simulated and recorded the animation to save time. So as you can see, just a simple walk animation. He's just walking. We see some nice close stimulation over here. Pretty solid. Again, it's up to you how it's gonna look. It has a lot of physical properties for each physical properties for the fabrics. Each fabric has its own, I'll repeat myself, physical property. Lots of stuff to play with. But yeah, I've already did this stuff, so you guys understand what's the basic workflow. So yeah, you create a garment on the T-pose avatar. You import the Alembic with animation. You press simulate, and voila, it's moving. You know, it's pretty looking great, even though it was made super fast. You know. Yeah, the other thing is very important if we would like to work in Substance Painter is obviously the UVs. UVs are the 2D representation of the 3D model. So basically, the greatest part of Marvelous Designer. So all of your 2D patterns are actually UVs. You know, you don't need to do anything. It automatically creates all the UV information for you. You'll just need to align it for each tile, if you know what I mean. To create, like, I was planning to put all the shirt information into first tile, then shorts shirts were moved to second one, and the socks into the third one. So again, with the new UDIM system, it's so much easier to have those two software. It has so much easier workflow from the latest updates from Substance. I was like, unfortunately, I was so upset because the release was so just after we've delivered the project. So I was working in an old-fashioned UV workflow. So yeah,
Eugene,
you
so
want
yeah,
that?
sorry to interrupt you, man, but
Sure.
that's a really good point you bring up. So
Oh,
with that said, just really quick, have you had a chance to try the new UV tiles with this setup at all, or you haven't
oh,
had a chance yet?
absolutely yes. As since the day one after release, I started testing stuff. I've started doing some different approaches how it would work, but nothing really fancy. Just move all the UV information in a different tiles and import it into Substance Painter, and it automatically generates the same UV island as you see in Marvel's design. So it's pretty great. I will show you like in a few minutes, and you'll see that it works super awesome. So yeah. We've created our garment. We've finished our UVs, which are super important. We've we've animated our avatar, our garment. Everything is good to go. We are happy with it, and now the super important stuff should happen. So export settings. As I mentioned, we'll have to export 3 different file types in order to work it properly. First one, we will export our Alembic file, which is animation. So we'll export Alembic Ogava. Yeah, I already did this. We'll replace it. And this is Alembic export file properties, settings. So make sure you export as a thin, so it won't generate extra layer of fabric on the top or on the bottom. We will create it this thickness in third-party software, which is more reliable. The other thing you should definitely check out, it should be unweld, so it won't create this unnecessary gaps between the sewings. And the other part is make sure you set up the proper FPS. Since you're working with animation, I was working 25 FPS, which is like the most common standard. And the main like the most important part is unified UV coordinates, which will help us to transform all the UVs that we've created and put it into each island are correctly. So yeah, let's export it. Yeah.
So,
And
Eugene,
yeah.
while that's exporting, one of the questions that was coming in from the chat was, where did you get the animations used for the Adidas project?
Yeah, obviously there was we had a huge team, and we had a character animator. He was working with the scanned models of the talents. So they've scanned the talents, 3D scanned the talents. They exported information. The animator did all the animations by hand without any auto rigging stuff. And yeah, then he just exported the Alembic files, and I used them as the avatar base for the garments, if it makes sense.
Oh yeah, awesome,
Uh,
man. Thank you.
sure, sure. So yeah, we've exported the Alembic. Let me close this heavy stuff. So yeah, we've exported Alembic. We've the second thing we have to export is football kit tags, which will help us to assign all the pieces of the garments onto the Alembic file. So I will explain it a little bit later. So make sure you have like make sure you have all the pieces as a separate piece of fabric. So for example, we have a t-shirt, which is shirt fabric. We have shorts, we have collar, and we have socks. So there are 4 different types of fabrics in here. By adding, you can add fabric by pressing this add plus add button. So make sure to export. Again, here are the export OBJ settings. Make sure you select all patterns. We don't need to export avatar in this case. We don't need to export graphics and trims. And we make sure to export as a single object and make sure, again, thin, because we don't need this thickness, unwheeled, unified UV coordinates, and that's it. Let's go, let's export it. And the final one, the final export is going to be for the actual Substance Painter UV UDIMS workflow. So we'll have to create another fabric. Let's call it export. We select all the patterns and assign it to this fabric to all. So it basically it gives the it tells look, this is like the one object. This is like a single mesh, but it has 4 or 3 different tiles of information for each part. So it's basically how we control this information for Marvelous Designer, and we export it the same as OBJ, football kit, SP Substance Painter. Again, select all patterns, single object, thin, unified UV coordinate. I think we're done with Marvelous Designer. I think it's pretty, for some people, it could be a pretty complex because I wasn't jumping in some deeply into this in some topics, but again, it's going to be a different stream someday, I guess. You definitely can find more information about Marvelous Designer, awesome software. Worth your investment, worth your time. Check it out. So let's jump into Substance Painter. So Substance Painter is, I know all of the audience, all of our audience know what it's for, and the development of the software is super great and helpful for creators like us. It helps us to solve so many problems, and the community is super great. I've been like asked so many questions during the production phase of Adidas project for community, and like super awesome people around. So let's create a new project. Nothing really fancy in new project settings. We use PBR, metallic roughness. As workflow, we select a file. Let's find our football kit Substance Painter file. Document resolution, we can change it later. And again, the most important part about UVs is preserve UV tiles, and it says and enable painting across tiles. So it's a new feature, which is like a lifesaver. So again, we importing the oh, why is it with avatar? I don't know, but it doesn't matter really, or not. Let me check. Oh yeah, we have this avatar export. So it would be much more easier for us to understand. So yeah, I think we're good. So new project, select Substance, and discard. Yeah, so yeah, we have our kit imported into the Substance Painter. The first step was
I'll get back to my presentation real quick. So there are some few major steps that you should pay attention to. Is import your T-post mesh into Substance Painter, which we already did. Make sure your UDIMS tiles imported correctly without any unnecessary information. As you can see here, we have all this tiles imported correctly. Everything's cool. Here are the importing in project settings. If you would like to get back to this one after the stream, and the third step is like the most important. And don't forget to paint and use Substance source materials to speed up your process. And the final one will export texture maps as a PBR metallic roughness template. Yes, those are some Substance source materials we've been using. Those are just few key stuff. I guess you guys shared with the audience with the direct links. Super handy, like Substance source. Like we weren't able, like for instance, we weren't able to reproduce the shoe sole material. It's so tricky in Adidas, the Nike one. It has this specific rubber, as I understood it, called polystyrene around it. We couldn't find it anywhere. You know, it was so painful to generate it procedurally, since we didn't have a specialist in Substance designer. So after like 10 minutes of search in Substance source, we've finally found out that they have a perfect solution with this polystyrene rounded material. So yeah, let's back to Substance Painter and see what we can do with this. So yeah, here we have our model imported into the Substance Painter. First thing first, again, make sure all the tiles are there and they are correctly imported. No unnecessary elements like avatar, like zipper, I don't know, stitches, etc. Then make sure you work in. Let me check real quick. Yeah, it's super buggy. I broke it. But yeah, make sure to get to shader settings and select shader PBR metal roughness with alpha blending. It would help us to see the inside surfaces of the model, which will help you understand what and how it projects inside the kit, the outfit. So yeah, here we are, all set. Let's try to do some texture work in here. So again, I'll be super fair with you guys. I'm not a very hyper beast dude inside the Substance Painter. I use it very basically, but it does a great job. You know, it does what it have to do. Like, I'm super satisfied, even though I have a super low, pretty much skills in it. I'm super happy how it turns out at the end, because the workflow is super simple, and the export results are very high quality, since you can even export in 8K your textures. So let's jump really quick into the Substance source. Again, guys, almost like 3,533 materials, which are procedurally generated in a way you can tweak everything you want. They are not, I mean, as far as I know, they are scanned, but they are modified. I'm not that super into this technology, but they have so many solutions for fabrics, almost 500 fabrics, so different fabrics. Like use whatever you wish. Like this is so beautiful, Japanese shiny stuff. So yeah, let's import one of the like polyester materials. Like I already have this one. So a polyester spandex jersey. It's a pretty much common stuff for common fabric for football uniforms. So we'll create send to substance painter. It automatically sends it to our substance painter project. Let's just wait, and maybe we'll export some other stuff. I don't know, maybe some crazy, I don't know, maybe some. It's up to you, really. Up for your. It's up for your needs, I guess. Let's export painted polyester canvas as well. So we've got the notification. Everything is there. We can finally use it. So we select all in the shelf and type poly. Now here it is, polyester spandex jersey. We drop it to our mesh. As you can see, it automatically fills all the tiles, which is pretty fine because we haven't assigned any specific UDIM information for this layer of fill layer. So to do it, we have to select this new, click the thumbnail to edit the UV tiles, new stuff in Substance Painter. We click it, and we see all the 3 tiles we've generated in Marvelous Designer. So as you can see, just check the first one. And this is the shirt information, UV information. Let's leave it like here. Let's call it shirt, right? Then we imported the polyester fabric, or not? Why? Yeah. Sorry, I messed it up. So yeah, we again, same thing. Put the material to the mesh. Let's call it a shirt. Assign it to the second UV tile. Here we go. And let's make socks same as the shirt. So yeah, pretty straightforward. It's thinking for some reasons. Maybe it's, yeah. Yeah, so we have this pretty basic paint setup. Again, let's make sure all the scale information of the bump channel is pretty much natural, because this is very huge as far as you can see. And let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's scale it down a little bit. Also, to see all the details, it's better to work in 4K. Size resolution, you see it's pretty super detailed texture that we've imported from Substance source. This shot looks super weird. We have to fix it out again by scaling down. See, super nice and crisp texture. Those socks could have a little bit different feel. Again, we can unlock this, how do you call it? Lock down the proportion proportions and scale down like by y axis and do this, let's say, lines. So most of the socks have this. Most of the football socks have this line type of fabric. So next thing, let's import let's import some logos and patterns that I've already prepared. Just a minute, I'll show you what I mean. So you can basically work with any type of patterns. Substance Painter worked great with Photoshop. It has this instant reaction. So for instance, you have the logo that you need to put. You make a PSD file. You put it directly into Substance Painter, and then you need to make some sort of changes. Just update it in Photoshop, and that's it. It's automatically updated in Substance Painter. So
Eugene.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, another question just came in, and it's talking, I think, about more about the mesh, and it's asking like, why do you export in thin? Is there a better way to give the fabric a thickness?
Yeah. I'll definitely show it in a minute, because since we are working with the animation, we will do all the thickness in Cinema 4D, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. But yeah, you don't have to export the thickness from Substance, or from Marvelous Designer. But maybe you have any other cases that you can, but I don't really know which other cases, because you can do thickness in ZBrush if you're working with some static imagery. You can do the thickness in Cinema 4D if you're working with animation, and they're much more flexible inside the animation software rather than inside Marvelous Designer. It would take you so much time to re-export with a new thickness rather than just do a quick tweak inside, for instance, in Cinema 4D. So back to our Substance Painter. We have I prepared a few textures. Let's import them into Substance Painter. Let's assign them as texture. Import them current session. Here we are. We have our patterns. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think, Eugene, you could just clear that tag and just type import, and I think it'll show up.
Let me do this again. Texture, and let's create a project import. Now we have all this stuff imported. So yeah, again, it's obviously up to you, up to your reference, up to your brief, what to do. I usually work with another really great stuff about logos. Again, if you're working with fashion stuff, they want you to put some logos. They want you to put some like info, I don't know, images inside the outfit. So the great part is to work with logos, is to create a fill layer. Let's call it logo, and import this logo into the base, to the base color channel, and we'll sorry, we'll make sure the trick part about logos that I realized that if you're working with outfits, they usually have this natural folds. Whenever the animation is whenever the your character is moving, the outfit is creating those folds. And if you're working into UV projection workflow, it usually screws and distort the actual logo, which is very unpleasant stuff to see, because during the animation, all the UVs are stretching in and out, which is pretty normal. But to avoid this, I usually use the planar projection stuff, and we make sure it's not repeating, so it's like a single logo. We scale it down. Like some manual work, but it works pretty great. Scale it down, Substance logo, and let's make sure we mask out the. Let's create a mask on this logo layer. Let's make it white, and let's paint all those unnecessary stuff, because we are using the projection method, which is projection through all the mesh information. Just a few seconds and everything is great. But because whenever you are using, you see in the UV map, it's stretching. And whenever the UV information during the animation is stretching, the logo stays the same. The logo dimensions are not distorting, and they're not causing any trouble in the final stages. So those are the some stuff with the logos, important stuff, some tricks, I guess. And yeah, you can again work with the usually do a lot of custom patterns. Again, create a fill layer. Make sure to like scale it down. Select like only one UV tile, and blending type. Let's say we want it to be like this. I don't know, dark. And here we are. We have some basic texturing stuff, pretty much baked. Some I don't know. It's this is the workflow I've been using on my latest project, and I will show you how to really quickly. We have 10 minutes left, I guess. Export all the maps, import them into the Cinema 4D, and make it look, I hope, beautiful. So yeah, let's press export texture, select the parameters that we need to change. Don't forget to select 16 bits file type. 4K is enough. Make sure all the UV tiles are selected. Emission, we're not using emission, just deselect it, and save. Let's make sure everything is correct. Let's export. And where is it exporting? Yeah, open directory. Yeah, it's exporting into the default, because I haven't changed the project. We are working in the with the cache info right now. So yeah, just make sure to export it whenever you want it to be exported. So yeah, here we have the destination. Let's open up real quick the Cinema 4D. Real quick about this slide, some information that you need to know during the import Alembic, plus import OBJ text that we've exported from the Marvelous Designer, and create all the shaders you need for each piece of outfit. You have assigned all the texture maps that we've exported from the Substance Painter. Then we'll copy all the shader from tags to Alembic. I'll explain in a bit. We'll make sure to normal maps are 90 degrees on the font tag, and run animation plus render, and we will enjoy our beautiful scene. Hopefully, if everything is correct, because I feel like I'm super rushing. So many stuff to cover in so tight time. So yeah, we'll make sure we select the Marvel's Designer export path. We make the merge project. Here it is. We will import ABC is a Alembic file with the baked information. I'll scale it down just a bit. We'll make sure all the animation is pretty much imported, imported and exported correctly. Is moving. Everything's cool. Blah blah blah. We'll call it animation. Then we will make sure to merge the tags OBGL file that we've created. This is like very important stuff because it's as far as you've seen, when we imported the Alembic file, it doesn't have any information about the selected file. So we don't have anything to select. I mean, it's just a simple, straight single mesh, right? So whenever we that's why we exported the OBJ file with all this selection stuff that we need. So we just make sure to copy paste over it, and as you can see, it's transformed all the information from the static image to the Alembic file. So
hey, Eugene.
Yep.
Hey, man, sorry, question. Also, I'll just let you know we've got time, so you don't need to rush.
Cool.
So no worries, man. I was just checking our time. So just really quick, when you did your export from Painter, what template are you using? Are you exporting using metallic roughness?
Yeah, I was using the metallic roughness because the metallic roughness is the most common thing. Plus, it works pretty great with the render engines like GPU render engines like Octane and Redshift that I've been using. So it contains all the necessary information, and it transforms pretty correctly from this point.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. That was gonna be my next question for you. So you're in Cinema. Which I don't have a lot of experience with it, but it was oddly enough, I was having to use it yesterday, and I didn't see that they had a metal rough shader. But you're using Redshift though, is that right? For this?
I was using Redshift for the Adidas, but
okay.
my main one is Octane.
Oh, yeah. I see. Okay.
So I'm jumping back and forth with the engines just to different to achieve different approaches, I guess. So yeah, I mean, we are in Cinema 4D. We have transformed all the. As you can see, I've exported wrong mesh at the start with the avatar. We shouldn't do this because, and it created like unnecessary like selected polygon stuff. We'll make it real quickly We'll redo this just a second to make everything clear for everyone. Now we've selected the, let me get back to it. Stay with me, guys. So yeah, here we have the, let's export again, tags. Yes, replace, please. Sorry, I was rushing. Single, no avatar, no trims, graphics, blah, blah, blah. And let's go. Finger crossed, merge, tags. Here we go. We have a 4 as intended. Finally, 4 different selected, polygon selected tags, which contains shirt, shirts, collar, and socks. So yeah, so let's copy those all those files over the animation Alembic, so they are identical. So now our avatar, animated avatar, have all the proper selection tags, which is very important. Then we have our textures that we've created from Substance Painter, and we will try to assign them really quick. Let's I don't know if you guys are interested in this. I mean, let's just quickly assign all the oh man, all the necessary information that we need for. Wait, why it's not? Yeah, all the necessary information we need for our texture. So yeah, let's export the base color. Let's export the like normal maps, of course. Let's import the roughness. Let's import the metallic. And for now, we are pretty much good to see the result. So here we are. We have this shirt shader that we've created in Octane, and we will assign it directly into the shirt selected tag. Yeah. So yeah, here we have the all the shaders that were created and exported perfectly. And the most interesting and the most trickiest part in outfit, in animation outfit in Cinema 4D workflow is to create obviously the thickness that people were asking. So we create a cloth surface which is built in Cinema 4D. We make sure subdivision is 1, factor is 100, and thickness is set to 1, or you can lower it down, depends on the piece of geometry you're working on, because some pieces are thicker and some are thinner. And let's call it tags. I just do not too confused. And we place this alembic inside the closed surface. And the final, the last but like the most important part is during the export phase in Marvelous Designer, it tells the alembic the wrong normal angle number. So it exports in 40 degrees, which is not correct. We have to set it manually in the phone tag. We have to set it manually to 90. So if it's 90, you see just once we've changed this value, it's automatically, let me deselect camera, it's automatically generated this perfectly beautiful, in my opinion, gaps between the sewings, which makes the clothes look more natural in close-up shots. So, so yeah, I mean, we have our dude with all the texture, not all, but the main shirt with the Substance logo, of course, who's moving, and he's moving pretty good with all the textures. And I mean, I think it's looking, even though we've spent like 30 minutes, 40 minutes doing the whole process, it already is looking pretty cool. Obviously, those type of tasks require much more time, much more precise work in, especially in Substance Painter, painting like it's super cool to paint like a dirt, you know, small details that would affect the overall picture. For instance, let's call it dirt. Now let's create a paint layer. Let's create the, let's select the brush that is already inside Substance Painter. Let's go, how do you call it? Dirt, right? Dirt. We select material. I don't know, just a random one, concrete, and you paint some dirt stuff. And the great part about the UDM is that you finally can do all this organic paintings, you know, that are perfectly aligned between the between two different aisles. So this is again a lifesaver for the industry, I guess. Again, you see, you don't have to switch. You know, you don't have to align anymore your textures. You just paint over it, automatically reacts whichever UV tile it is, and that's it. You know, it's life is so much easier, and we are happy people to have this tool in our hands. I think.
Yeah, Eugene, a question about the thickness that you had just shown. So one person was asking, is that I guess in Cinema 4D, is that cloth, is it being like extruded on the mesh? They're using Maya, so there isn't like a specific like cloth type simulation tool like that. So is it just like just extruding the mesh, like adding like a thickness modifier or something?
Yeah. The it basically what it does, it creates a extra layer of thickness, meaning that it creates the depends on the number of the thickness, it creates an extra layer and smoothing the edge between those two layers. And the great part, if you, for example, if you're just going to use the subdivide surface, for instance, and you drop it to the you drop your animation or your mesh into it, you see it would create this camera. Let me turn off the camera so you can see more clearly. So it creates this unnecessary holes you see here between the gaps. Yeah, which is very unnatural, and like it ruins the picture, right? So what the close surface inside Cinema 4D does, it creates it reads the information about the gaps, and it doesn't affect those. The subsurface amount is not affecting those parts. That's why it creates this organically shaped clothes, if you know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's super clean.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I actually have another question for you that I was going to get to while we're talking about this seam. One person was asking, like, what do you do about the stitching? Like, are you using
mhm.
Painter to add stitching in those areas, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Substance is the best, I guess, in this case, in our case, for stitching. You should definitely bake it inside the textures, because first of all, it's much more easier to do inside. It's super easy to do inside Substance Painter, because Substance Painter have those stitching brushes. How do you say stitching brushes? You can find a lot of different types. And the why are we doing it inside Substance Painter rather than Marvelous Designer? Because Marvelous Designer, uh, rather than it generates the geometry, unnecessary geometry that we cannot control. So it does a great job. It does the perfect uh, stitching work. There are so many tools inside it, but whenever we export a model, a baked animation as an Alembic file has this unnecessary and you don't need these stitches. So whenever you extrude it, for instance, whenever you extrude the for instance, we have this, we've created a stitching inside Marvelous Designer, especially for this part. So Alembic file have this information inside, and whenever we do the extruding stuff and subdividing stuff, it also extruding the stitching and it extruding and it's subdividing stitches, which is super which is makes the scene super heavy and unreliable, you know. So yeah, it's pretty much if you're working in ZBrush for static images, for instance, you can definitely export it and manipulate this whenever you like. But again, don't forget that this is animation, and it requires some stability, and it should have less polygons to work with. Yeah.
Yeah, with Substance Painter as well, we also have some new stitching tools that are coming. So we added the auto stitch generator quite a few versions back, but the actual, we have artists from our demo art team are working on a new stitching brush. So I'll do a shout out to Guillaume and Lawrence, who are working on that, as well as Casimir. Kaz is in the chat. Hey, Kaz. He's working on a lot of these filter brushes as well. And so we should have that. I don't know which release it's going to be in, but we have a nice new stitch brush that has it's using basically like the rolling feature, you know, like the rolling alpha from
Oh
ZBrush.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's super nice. I've been playing with it a little bit, but yeah, so we'll have that. You'll be able to find those in the shelf under tools.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
we have one yet, but yeah, it's coming.
Metal stitching. Yeah, metal stitching.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't wait for this one, man. I mean, I want
Yeah,
it.
it's all new, and they've added like seams, stitches. Like you can change the stitches, you can change the different types of seams, and so on and so forth. Adjust the material color. Like I said, the team's working on it, so it'll show up in a future release, but should be pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait. So yeah, I mean, this is like my best basic workflow. There are some basic tips that I found during the process that could help out everyone. I hope that someone really enjoyed. I mean, um, learning like from this, because I think there's some stuff that could help a lot of people out of trouble, get out of trouble eventually. Yeah. So
There's that. Oh, sorry, Eugene. There's actually another question here as well in regards to stitching. So they were asking about basically some stitching on the neckline. It says they're having a really hard time on rounded edges without a pen tool. Maybe you have some different methods or ideas about that.
what do you mean about the neckline?
Yeah, I
Do they
think
have?
around the neckline, it looks like maybe they're having some issues like with stitching around where yeah, I guess around the neckline. I think that's all it says. It says they're just having a hard time with rounded edges without a pin tool. So in Painter, we don't have a pin tool that you can like, pin. So I guess it's like, how are they getting, okay. Yeah. So like, the neck, you got the rounded opening. So like maybe they're having a hard time getting that nice and smooth. I don't know if Lazy Mouse would probably be helpful for that or.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Lazy Mouse, and uh, again, if you're working with animation, don't rely on other stuff rather than Substance Painter in terms of stitching, because we've tried to achieve so different. We've even exported stitches as a separate alembic, and but it was so complex whenever it was so heavy. So don't even. I mean, I hope that I'm not gonna say about Marvelous Designer. I hope they're working on it as well to make this workflow even more smoother. But they have to make it on their end to so you can have the more control with the stitching. Unfortunately, I hope I think they're working hard on it. But now during this situation, I think you should work with the Lazy Mouse with the stitching tool, as you mentioned, that our Substance Painter developers are working on, that could help us out to do it even more precise. But yeah, Lazy Mouse, like all good times, Lazy Mouse and stitch it out,
Yeah. Yeah. Also, we have the auto stitch generator, which is interesting because you can use Designer to extend painters. So like we have a basic auto stitch, which will look at like what we call the UV mask, which is basically like the edge of the UV shells. So depending on how the UV shells are laid out, it could automatically just put the stitches around the neck. And then you can adjust like, how far out and in they go. So there's those possibilities as well. So, but yeah, always improvements, and the team's always listening to these streams, so they're taking in that feedback.
Yeah, it would be super handy for us, the fashion guys, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely sure that there are some other ways, because this is like the workflow that I've been trying to like polish for my purposes. It's not like essential one. It's like the workflow that solves certain problems at the end. I'm definitely sure that you can do it, that you can export somehow stitches for Maya, I guess. And then I don't know. I'm not so very good at Maya, but you can play with it with export settings. It's all about R&D. You just try, test, and share your experience with the world, same as we are doing now.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking through some of our other chats and questions. So far we're doing good. I do have one comment for you. So Luca from BC says hi in the chat. They loved
Yeah,
working
Luca,
with
man.
you.
Damn, he was the MVP. He did so
Yeah.
many crazy stuff. Luca, hey man, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, let's see here. I don't think we have any other questions. So with that said, let's see here. Yes, some of these questions were just coming in about Substance integrate Photoshop's pen tool, things like that, which would be amazing. So I know the team is really listening to a lot of that feedback. Yeah, being able for us to be able to draw and stroke like curve lines and things is a highly requested feature, and the team's really looking at it. Me personally, I'm anticipating that now that we have the UV tiles kind of out of the way, that took a bulk of work. We'll see a lot of other cool stuff coming down the pipe here. So I think with that said, is there anything else you'd kind of like to showcase in this project or anything like that?
I mean, I've shown pretty much everything I wanted. I mean, sorry guys, it went wrong with the export stuff. The most important stuff went wrong, but I mean, you know how it should look. Again, I'm gonna show you those few slides that just take a screenshot. I don't know. Those are just key steps, key export settings. Feel free to use them. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I will try to definitely help out because I'm on the same boat as you guys. We are trying to like solve all the problems in the world of CGI, 3D world, experimenting and stuff. So yeah, here's the Substance important stuff. It's pretty simple, but they are working. Don't forget that everything which is simple are the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And just a reminder to everyone too. So this is all being recorded and it'll be, available right after the stream. Really, I think it only takes a few moments and then you can go back and view these, view all these slides from the presentation again. So yeah, with that said, I think we kind of already handled all of the Q&A, Eugene. I just kind of hit them, the questions coming in as you went through your presentation. So with that, I think we can start to look to kind of close things out. So first off, I just, again, really want to, thanks a lot for joining us today. Eugene, it was awesome to have, to see your workflow. Thank you for sharing your expertise. There was a lot of good questions and yeah, so a lot of also good feedback for the Substance Painter team as well. So with that said, I also want to just kind of remind everybody about our next stream that we have coming up. So it's going to be on September 17th. And so we will have our newest team member, Gio, with us to showcase Medium and discover how to sculpt basic shapes and forms in VR. And so I want to say is that the Medium is now part of the Substance team and the 3D and AR at Adobe. So we're really thrilled to introduce new tools such as Medium, as well as all of the new team members such as Geo and all of the Medium development team that has joined the Substance team. So again, we're all kind of working together now, and that just means we have more cool stuff to be bringing to the Substance suite of tools. Even beyond texturing. So it's really exciting. So with that said, Eugene, I'll just leave it to you. Do you have any kind of closing comments or anything?
Yeah, I mean, guys, it was a huge pleasure. Thanks, Vast. Thanks the Substance team. I was like, I was dreaming to go live with you guys for quite some time, to chat and to share. And finally, when I like felt that I'm good to share something, you finally reached out and we managed to solve this. Stars aligned, and I really hope that even though with my this chaotic workflow, you guys managed to pull something off from it. Again, sorry if something went wrong, but I really had a great pleasure at chatting with you, sharing my experience, and long live Substance. Hey, and Adobe.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much, Eugene, man. You're such an interesting person, man. I was really taken back by all the experience you've had and all your jobs and things. It's really cool, man. So it's really cool to meet other artists and just see what their background is and how things, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just love how everyone's so unique and everybody has just something new to bring to the table. So, man, thank you for sharing your expertise and being with us here today. And I guess with that said, man, we'll just close it out. So finally, one more. Thanks, everyone. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you on the next stream. Take care, everybody.
Ciao.